Alright, I think we're online here. So, before, well, maybe we'll see how many people show. Why does it say 4 minutes when it starts? Okay. Anyway, today is day 3 of the streaming, and I am on to my second SEPTA Mid-Winter Trip. I'm going to be SEPTA Mid-Winter Trip 4. This is back in 2004. Sort of lines up that way, so it's easy. I don't think there was a 0 trip in 2000, so it starts at 2001. So, this is another year of experience of me doing this. So at this point, I'm taking more photos, and I've actually got my naming convention pretty well down. So it's a lot less work for me having to rename things, go back through the stuff. I'm doing these SEPTA Mid-Winter trips mainly because I'm trying to sort of promote this year. And it's one of the few things I have left in the dark ages between 2002 and 2005 that I have left. I mean, let's say I'm currently working through 2004. Most of my stuff has been redone through 2003. So anyway, this trip comes in 2 parts. This is because back when I had memory cards, the cards would the camera wouldn't save which number it was up to. So whenever I archived the photos, I'd always have to do it in 1 or 2 parts. So I'm going to start with part 1 tonight. This is 92 photos. That filled up the card. So I'm going to be able to get through about half of these tonight, then do the other half tomorrow, and then it's on to part 2 the following night. So I'm just going to cut and paste these in here. Yoop. And the first thing we're going to look at today is how one thing is that I always go through is whenever I have a giant batch of photos, I would always go through and just sort of pick out the stuff that's just trash and not worthy. Now, back in the day when space was a lot more limited, I really trimmed a lot, and I really over-trimmed. Going back, there's a lot of in hindsight, 15 years later, you see a lot of things that, that's kind of useful. It might be blurry, it might be tilted, it might be tinted, but there's valuable historic content in that photo. So what I'm going to go through here is just going to go through this first set and find the stuff that should be, probably should be eliminated. This midwinter trip started off with, I think, it looked like some sort of MFL trip for some reason. Probably look at the new Market Street L. Here we have the construction or construction of a new head house for one of the stations. Not quite entirely sure which one it is. I can go check the names on that. Again, I got all the names right here, so that's super easy. Do I have all the names right here? Should have all the names right here. There it is, 62nd Street. So this is where a head house will be. And they have this little thing here, and my question is like, well, these angles are the same. Do I really need both these pictures? Unfortunately, there's the substation. There's the whatchamacallit. I probably should keep those both. On the other hand, this one, which is taken on the Reading trunk line, overly blurry, nothing too much about it. Maybe I would have saved it back in the day. I can't even tell the number on that, so I'm going to dump that one. That, pretty much anything. Or I'm going to zap this one back in the day, but you got a nice medium clear on the signal there. I'm going to keep that. The CAD inspection vehicles. So this trip features a trip down the Fox Chase line. Right before it was, they did the septaration to get off the having to share it with CSX. So you could see that SEPTA was going towards this cab signal only transitization kink well before the PTC stuff happened. So normally I think I would kill this one, but it shows how the old Newtown line. Fox Chase, there used to be a siding there with an interlocking at both ends, and at some point they decided to just cut it out at the station and chop it. But it hadn't quite. Today it's super overgrown, but now back then it the brush hadn't come up. I don't know when they chopped it off, but it was still, the right of way was still nice and clear, almost like the service could be restored. It was temporarily discontinued since 1984. Yeah, and again, I might have cut this one back in the day just due to the blur, but because this is a historical shot, I'm gonna go back and include it. More history here, since Wayne Jct is now a high-level platform. Most of these are fine. Just checking through in case there's any blurry or whatever photos, but it's looking pretty good. All right, off we go to the races. Let's just check the chat, see if anybody's having any questions here. I actually got people watching. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll check back periodically. No, I don't think I need to deal with. Let's just see if I need to deal with that problem with the sorting. If I sort this by date, it looks like I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sort this by name when I'm doing the deletions, or it's gonna be a problem. Huh, that's weird. Why do I have these New Haven line photos in here? Anyway, let's see. Yep. Fortunately, I can just sort of go through and I don't have to spend so much time dealing with naming things. Because by 2004, I was into the hang of labeling things appropriately. Like, I'm not prefixing something on the MFL with MFL. It's SEPTA MFL. This one was a little bit soft. Give it the old double. So I have two sharpening modes. I'll sharpen before the resize and or after the resize. It depends on what it results in terms of the final size of the photo. So I didn't try very much in terms of giving these super creative names. But it's interesting to have these row home style substations. You see a lot of that in New York and other places. You know, with a lot of transit lines, it's just they're out in the suburbs, or you know, it's just sort of this. A lot of substations these days are sort of just they can almost fit them in something the size of a relay hut, so you don't even know that they're there. I mean, you know they're there, but they have no real presence or anything to them. So I appreciate that back in the day they tried to make these substations blend into the neighborhood where the L was running. Now, while this looks like a home signal, this is actually the distance, the northbound distance to SEPTA 16th Street interlocking. So I'm going to crop off the left-hand side of the frame because there's the station's more of an interesting thing, and you can see I got it right on the rail there. Evens things up. I'm going to give it a bit of a brighten. Zap out a bit of the red. Let's see what I called this. So one of the nice things is when you're working with when I'm going back through these first photos, I can always use the simple names. See, now it's doing me the weirdness with the renaming thing, the dates. See, everybody thinks that other one might be the home signal, but the home signal is actually buried in the trench about a quarter-mile away. And this is it's also interesting that the busy Reading 16th Street junction, it's just right is right at the same point where it passes under Amtrak's North Philadelphia interlocking. So you're sort of a nexus of rail junctions there. One thing I will do is capitalize this, since that is the name of the interlocking. Windows is case insensitive, so it'll just overwrite the file right away. Might be a problem if I when I upload this to my Linux-based server. So of course, 16th Street is famous for its its twin double slip ladders at the junction of the old Reading main line passenger main to Reading, and the what became the SEPTA main line to Lansdale. To this day, it's still pneumatic. Don't think they have any plans to change. It was all redone during rail works during the 1980s. Although every so often they will get an air failure there. I remember there was one major rush hour disruption where they had an air failure. I think they even mentioned it on the news that it was due to an air plant failure. This all used to be, so this is Wayne interlocking the northbound signal bridge to Wayne. Wayne, I think, used to control out to Huntington, but they that was all consolidated, or they were split off when they went to the CTC project. So my old camera, my old 3-megapixel one, had a very annoying the flash every time you turned the camera on was set to an auto. So you had to remember to hit the flash setting button 4 or 5 times to cycle through all the flash settings to off. And if you forgot, you'd get a flash in the window like I did here. The worst part is if you're trying to be covert. This is back in the days of increased photo harassment after 9/11. Nothing draws attention like flash in their face. Let's see any pictures here. Here you are back at Wayne Junction, and I might so this is where you can actually see the New York short line, or whatever they called the freight route, ducking down in the trench next to the Wayne Junction station. It's sort of nice when railroad stations have junction in the name as opposed to something more for civilians. That's a horrible name. As I mentioned before, that was the super nice, I think it's 6. All the way down to the bottom. That's the 6L there. So every so often I will rename something. I don't know what track that is. Should know what track that is. Probably track 1. I can go back to a previous photo and check what track that is. It is track 1. So, Yeah, they use a 1-2-3-4 system, not a 2-4, a 4-2-1-3 system. And this is the 8L with what I believe is a medium clear. Or should be a medium clear. Just going to crop that to the small portion there. Quick rotate, straighten up those cat poles. It's blurry, but whatever. I might not have saved this one back in the day. I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't have necessarily recognized the value of the searchlight signal. Even 15 years ago, searchlight signals are probably still one of the most common signals in North America. What did I call this? Yeah, when I get to weird and ambiguous photos, sometimes I just don't bother updating the names. Weird, to make sure the stream is all right. Looks good. And these are actually autos. Yeah, these are definitely a SEPTA hack job there, using a Reading lozenge. And these are, this one, and that one are actually US&S produced tricolor, modular tricolors, kind of like the SafeTran scallop shell signals today. See, I put this as a, what did I, H5, there it goes. Scallop signals today. This 4-5, what? But they had a weird. I did a thing on this. The Pittsburgh Light Rail uses those signals. It's like a square frame with a round center, really ghastly looking. They quickly went away. But you can tell by, I've seen other, these predate the whole SafeTran scallop shell ones. So that's why I know they aren't those. And there's other instances of them on the Fox Chase. So I'm looking for which aspect ratio I can do. I can go tall or narrow. And I think narrow is going to not quite do it for me, so I'm just going to go wide. Definitely brighten this up a little bit. Of course, these are those served as exit signals for the interlocking, because you were back to back with CP Newtown junctions. They wanted to put an extra signal, and back in the day, that's where the cab signal had cut out. The track maps are actually from multimodal-ways. Damn it. From the Conrail thing. They have a whole bunch of Conrail interlocking diagrams, because Conrail effectively ran SEPTA, but also this is just the Reading division. When 1976 rolled along, they just took the whole Reading Railroad and called it the Reading Division, and they have the charts for the entire Reading Division, so every Reading interlocking is covered. And because the CTC was was pretty much, wait, did I just, Because the CTC predates, was done in the signaling had not been, SEPTA had not attempted to re-signal any of that as of 2003. Whoa, hold on, I'm missing a thing there. Shoot. I accidentally undid one of my deletions. Okay, there we go. Because SEPTA had not re-signaled yet, I can go and use the 1976 track diagrams for labels. It's not like there was the Wayne had already, if you go into the thing, pretty sure wind established, wind located at Wayne Tower, remote control. At this point in 1976, Wayne, whatever classic interlocking machine they had in Wayne Tower, had been replaced by the panels. So all the labels should be accurate, especially for 2004. All right, ready for the next batch. Why would I call it that? It's a terrible name. All right. Yeah, you can see the old version of the photo. This is just terrible, poorly cropped, small. Zoom it right in there. Get rid of a little bit of that blue. Oh, see, if I get rid of too much blue, it turns it purple. So I can just head over to the Adobe PDF here, head up to Newtown Junction. So again, I mentioned this one last time, but we had a clear signal there. This time the 16R signal is showing medium clear. But I'm just going to relabel this one. So it's going to be C2 Newtown Junction, northbound, plus 16R, medium clear. And the gantry is far away and it's soft. I throw enough qualifiers onto things that usually keeps the file names unique over time. So in 2003, we noticed the sort of the hacked up little reverse direction signal here that SEPTA had made out of searchlights. It looks like someone complained about the sighting because the top one has been replaced by a full signal head. Probably because someone had trouble seeing a clear. I don't know what it was, but ironically, within about a year, this would all be gone. Well, I think some of this interlocking would be drastically different within a year, and all of these hacked up signals would be gone. So I'm going to crop that out, but one second, I'm going to go take a look at one of my other multimodal diagrams. I got Philly interlocking charts from 1997. This is where we get a little overlap. Let me see if I have Newtown. I might have Newtown Junction in the 1997 Philly one. I don't have Newtown, but I would have Cheltenham Junction and Crescent. And those are important for another reason, but I'll get to that in a second. I'll get there in a bit. Anyway. Wonderful, wonderful December cloudy gray day here. So this one I can just mod the previous thing and just cut off the far and the medium, the soft, because this is a perfect photo of the signal bridge there. And then we can see the old USNS tricolors, the Model TRs right there, and Reading lozenge signals. A lot of really, you know, a lot of everything is just so sterile today. You don't get the diversity that you used to. Yeah, actually, prior to this, there had been in the year previous. They'd already started. They'd already started removing stuff. If I went back to the 2003 photos, surprisingly, we can cut to the B-roll here. If you cut to this 2003, you can see they've already started removing. There used to be a connection that would snake in from the CSX to go north on SEPTA. I guess they just did some audit and realized they never used it. But that shows up in the Conrail diagrams. And that had an odd hump in it because the Trenton line the Trenton line went from 2 tracks to 1. So it used to be a 4-track interlocking. You can see they had it's 4-track complete, but they did have that odd parallel connection for the passenger routes onto the New York short line. I'm gonna stick with the old rate name on this. I don't have anything better. Well, thing's turning into a word salad of. You can also see here we have non-dual controlled GRS switches. Even though this, in theory, was a US and it's numbered as a USNS plant, at some point it had GRS switches installed. Okay, that's what I called that. I'm not going to call it that. See, sometimes the things look, a lot of this picture looks straight, but a little bit, the parts fall in line, but it still looked a little crooked. So you have to, sometimes you got to make things crooked to make it look straight. So going to the charts, this is the 17 switch, plus the tower. So when the tower is in the frame, it's Newtown Junction plus 17 switch, northbound, reverse. I won't say direction in the. I usually try to identify direction in the file names. Uh-oh, I got some. Didn't do a great crop job here. I have a little bit of mask there. Fixture masking. So there used to be when there was a second track coming through here, there was another movable point frog and movable point diamond, but that had since been removed. And also when SEPTA redid this, what they did is they did a weird thing where they put in a pocket track when the SEPTA ration was complete, they put in a pocket track. So trains going on to the R8 could sort of pull over and wait for something to come off the R8 Fox Chase. So it's a 17 movable point frog. I gotta invest in some Reading Railroad reference material just to see what these interlockings were like back when the towers were before 1965. So that's very interesting. If you look at the diamond, both the 17 and 19 switches, which had the movable point frogs, the movable point frog was included in the turnout. So throwing one lever would throw the switch at each end, and it would reverse the movable point frog. That's very interesting. I mean, it's logical, but it's interesting. On a GRS frame, each switch and the movable point frog would be on its own lever. That just shows the efficiency of what US&S could do with its Model 14 system. Halfway done, let's see what's in the chat. And here we are coming around to that's the other end of the 17 switch. See, there's a thing of how do you differentiate the different switches at each end of the thing. Some places use AB, some places use EW, north, south. I wouldn't know. I'm just going to pay 17. Do north. So now we're on the old Fox Chase line here, and I'm going to go back to see. I want to. So this is where our Conrail interlocking diagrams become more of important, because we actually get some coverage on these 1997 diagrams. So the reason they matter, first off, I can go back to the time, and this was a distance signal on the Conrail charts. Interesting fact. Track 1 on the New York Short Line at this point, on which was the Fox Chase portion, was not accessible to through Conrail trains. SEPTA trains could use both tracks, but because of Cheltenham Junction, I'll show you, but Conrail can only use the track that the outbound R8 track. Let's see what I renamed this back in the day. I've been doing a lot of renaming here. Looks like I'm doing an okay job with this. One thing I did do back in the day and I don't do anymore is that I would often pop some of the signal indications. I'm also keeping this really far. Maybe can I do a better crop on this? Maybe I can. Yeah, it's a much better crop right there. You know, you really don't need a lot of that foreground stuff. When you have an unbalanced photo, you know, the subject of this is the signal gantry, and I have a large lead-in. So one thing I used to do back in the day, and this would take a good amount of time, I would actually go in there and I'd pop the signal indications a little bit so you could see it better. But part of the reason was because the resolution was so low, it would almost vanish at the sizes I was doing. So it's calling this 71 in. It is soft, but I'm just going to do an overwrite. Now, normally I would, I tag things out as soft. I didn't often do that back in the day, but I have no way to do. I don't think I never had any reshoots of the Fox Chase line stuff. I might have, but there's no real point to, if I only have one ever copy of that, one ever photo of that signal because I can't get it anymore because it's gone. No need to label it as that's the soft copy. This is working exactly as intended with how this has worked. I might have to relabel this one though. It is of a station, but it's just normally if something's a station, I call it out as a station. It's also soft, and the station still exists, and it's in the north. It's in the northbound direction. So I'm gonna go rename that one. So this is an interesting area of the Fox Chase line, not only because you have this sort of interesting cantilever catenary. I think to this day, the wire is still up over the Conrail, the CSX track, although I'm not 100% sure. They might have pulled it, but I think it was double stack compatible, so they had no reason to. But one interesting thing was that in this area, there was whatever actually not quite there yet. There's a ghost interlocking. What did I call this? Cantilever catenary. All right, yeah, this is good enough. There was an interlocking that got removed sometime between 1997 and 2000 and at least 4. This is my first time. I wasn't there a year earlier. So it was located right here, and it was called CP Crescent, and it provided a trailing point crossover, so SEPTA trains could go from track 1 to track 2, and you could hold a CSX freight between Newtown Junction and Crescent. No, as you can see, it didn't make a hell of beans. Like what's the point of that? I don't know what use you would get from being able to cross a SEPTA train over a mile down the pike. But this actually begs the historic question. So it's there in 1997. This would have been the old northbound signal bridge. But I'm going to go to the Reading diagrams here. I'm going to have to see if I can find it, what was there back in 1976. So I'm not seeing anything here. At CP Cheltenham. I go down to Newtown Junction. And both of those say that there's something called Frankfurt Junction between Newtown Junction and Cheltenham Junction. Well, let's go up and see what's there. Here it is. Ah, okay, so this is what becomes Crescent. It is a junction of the Reading Olney branch and the Frankfurt branch. So these are both two local freight lines, and they plugged into the New York Short Line. This was, of course, removed when those lines, and so it's interesting. You can see that this junction complex, which was almost a 3-track full crossover in 1976, it turns into this CP Crescent, which is a vestigial little crossover as of 1990, whatever. Yeah, and look, it still even has the same mass signals there. And if we go to the picture, you can see the third track. So 1, 2, 3, and both of these signal brackets hold the suspended subsidiary for the restricted. So it's let's just take one more look at this here. Zooming in on the Google Earth view. This is the sort of thing that this is what eats up my time whenever I'm looking through these old photos or even new photos. And you figure out something, you got to go and do a little research on it. I'm not, I don't need to know what's going on here, but it helps. It just helps help you figure things out. Now, here's the current Fox Chase line. This bridge there is what that's the branch that goes down to Port Richmond, which was the major Reading Railroad. Was that the Port Richmond branch? Maybe not. No, that pops out of there. But this probably hooked into it somehow. A lot of these old industrial branches have sort of atrophied. But here we are. We're going to go in. Here you go. This is where Crescent used to be. And, yep, there you can see it. There's the Olney branch. Going down, looks like there might have been an old freight terminal or something industrial area down there. You can still see the scar through the city, that line of trees. There's a lot of this stuff that's funny. Whenever I used to drive on Roosevelt Boulevard, I'd always notice when I would be going over these weird right-of-ways. And there were a lot of them. I mean, there's one right there, and then there's one right there. And then, you know, the PR bustled, and here's the abandoned Reddit Frankfurt branch. It's actually, someone's tagged it on this Wikimapia diagram there. Let's say, former Reading Railroad's Frankfurt branch mainly used the industrial freight branch. Also used for limited passenger service up to the early 1970s. The line was completely abandoned sometime in the late 70s after Conrail absorbed, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, see? You learned something today. And just going down these old photos, you can find stuff that's even older. So what do I do? What do I do when I have this old vestige of CP Crescent, which used to be Frankfurt Junction? I'm not going to call this Frankfurt Junction. That's confusing. I'm going to go with CP Crescent. So I'm just going to hit this with the CRESCENT. Whenever I have something that's an out of service something, I hit it with an old northbound gantry. Now, I'm willing to bet, I don't know exactly how far away. See, all these signals are gone now. CSX re-signaled. They pulled a whole bunch of the intermediate. See, so because of this was, you had passenger service, it had very close signal spacings, mile, half mile. SEPTA put in their cab signals. I don't know what the hell they went to, but CSX just went this to 3-mile signals. I guess they don't expect a lot of traffic coming to and from on the Trenton line. Also note the asymmetric signaling. The last block signal didn't have a. They removed some of the. This used to be, at least in the Conrail days, the. Maybe I missed one. I don't know. Maybe not. The 40N. It looks like it got chopped down. Probably when they got. Oh yeah, because they wouldn't need that 407 distant to Crescent anymore. Let's see what I named that back in the day. 81X. Okie doke. See, that was what I used to do back in the day when the stuff was, because this is a very JPEG incompressible scene here. Ballast, trees. So when I probably first made that, it's like, oh, this is a very large file size. I'm going to reduce the size of the photo until, instead of increasing JPEG compression or something, I just killed the size of the photo, which was the exact wrong thing to do. Alright, we're done that batch. Let's go check out the chat here. Oh, shoot. Nah, looks like I lost the thing again. I gotta watch out for that. Okay. Well, sorry about that. I really gotta watch that stuff. I can't hear when stuff's going on. For any of you who missed the, I'm gonna run that. I'll do a quick run again for all the stuff I was explaining with CP Crescent. Just FYI, there's CP Crescent. What looked like in 1976. Right there. Looked like in 1997. What it looked like in 2004. You can see the vestige of the third track right there. And then here's the two branches. One of them right there, down to Olney. Other one right there, down to Frankfurt. You can see its outline right there in that thing. All right, sorry about that. Am I good again? All right, I should be good again. Okay. So next station here is Lawndale. I'm also going to rename this. You know, that's the when they did the what I call the septaration. It's just a shame. It's they abandoned like half their infrastructure on the line. It's like, yeah, let's go from 2 tracks to 1 track and like have abandoned platforms all over the place because, you know, we're a SEPTA. We let's abandon our railroad until it goes. You know, let's just if we keep abandoning things, maybe we won't have to run the railroad anymore. SEPTA really doesn't like running the commuter rail. They're a bus company that got saddled with a rail operation. Now, did I name this? Because I know the name of that interlocking now. Yeah, see? I punted on the name. Am I everything working here? I'm talking to no one now. Damn, I lost all my peeps. It's lawn interlocking. So when I have something new that's not in service yet, I just prefix it with a new. Northbound, mast, give it a wide. See, back in the day, I didn't know what that was. I think I found out, I don't know when I found out what those new interlockings were going to be. Ah, one of my favorite CPs with an obnoxiously long name, CP Cheltenham Junction. So you can see the new lawn siding. If you actually go back to the 1976 diagram of Cheltenham Junction, which is right there, there was an actual siding in the middle here. Boop 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 boop. Not sure what it was used for, but SEPTA used that larger right of way, and they turned that right into a their second siding pocket track. So they got one pocket track at the entrance, one pocket track here between Lawndale and Cheltenham, and then they have the two tracks at the end of the line. And for the minimal service that they run on the line, I mean, that's what, you know. Actually, it feels like a very, very German type of rail service. We have a small single track with a bunch of passing sidings. What do I want to do here? Anybody come back? No, just me. Derp. Derp. Fuck. The stream must go on. Now, Cheltenham Junction is very Conrail-y. I mean, this is Conrail. SEPTA controlled it. I know they did. Yeah, let's go to the thing here. Yep, see, and it's using. Remember what I said earlier? I said I can use the old interlocking charts because they have the same name. They have the same nomenclature from 1976. 1976, 42R, 46R, 42R, 46R. Boom, unresignaled. Although I think Conrail did. Oh, whoa! See, look, you get all sorts of little fun tidbits. A5. Oh, sorry. Switch machines. GRS 5. Wait, no. CP Cheltenham Junction in 1997 had A5 pneumatic switch machines. That's cool. Wouldn't have guessed that. I'm going to type CP Cheltenham Junction from memory. $42R medium clear. Soft. You know, there's a lot of days where I just feel like I got into this just 5 years too late. You know, when I was a kid, I went to places, but I didn't know the value of what I was looking at. I didn't know, and it was also the film era. You know, you could, when you only had 24 exposures, you couldn't go blasting it about on pneumatic switch machines. I didn't even know what a pneumatic switch machine was, or how valuable they were. See, yeah, Conrail by 2004 or CSX had brought in the electrics, which is interesting, considering that this was on its way out. Now, where's the airline? Oh, there it is. There it is, right there. It's right there. There's an airline. Look at that. I bet that's still there. If I go to my archive, I bet if I go there today, I bet that airline is still there. You can see it right there. See, your primary source tells you it's an A5 switch machine. Go to the photo, and there's the evidence. This is the 41 switch, and it's reverse. Get light. Come down. Punch a little bit of the thing out. You can see there. There's your intermediate. It's the only it's I'm not sure. There might be another distant. Yeah, there's another distant they put in back down the line, a distant for CP nice. And then there would probably be one additional block between the end of the Berry siding. It makes me wonder if SEPTA didn't remove the didn't chop the electrics when they started their reconstruction, because they just didn't want to deal with that airline or the associated air pipes when they were putting in their signal. I bet that's it. That's got to be it. SEPTA did that. Conrail didn't. CSX didn't care. SEPTA did that, and I just missed it by a few months or whatever. Why am I calling this SEPTA Cheltenham? This is not SEPTA CP Cheltenham Junction. It's just CP Cheltenham Junction. This is Conrail all the way. I don't know what I called this. I'm going to probably label this as part of CP. This is still within interlocking limits. Yeah, I'm just going to rename this one as well. So for those of you just tuned in, this is the split between the Fox Chase line and what the Reading called the New York Short Line. This was because the Reading, New York branch branched off at Jenkintown. That's the famous route of the Crusader. Their streamlined service to New York City. But the New York Short Line was a freight cutoff that connected Newtown Junction to Neshaminy Junction. Reading was very big on junctions. I think they had a bit of a. I think they had a lot in common with British railways. I think they sort of had a British fascination. Fox Chase Line was very notable for having wooden catenary poles, something not really encountered or implemented much by the PR or the Reading. Interesting how so many of the SEPTA lines are very sort of rural, interurban-y. It's also a now, this catenary is actually put up in the 1960s by the state of the city paid to have. So this branch, this used to be part of the Newtown branch, which was diesel, non-electrified RDCs, other trains, and they would run diesel in the Reading terminal. In the 60s, the city paid for the Reading to electrify this from Newtown Junction to the city line at Fox Chase. So for the longest time, this was the last part of for many years. This I think until like between 1960 something, 1982. This was the newest catenary that had been installed in the United States. We sort of had an electrification drought. Do I have the name of that road crossing there? No, so I gotta go find the road crossing there. To the map. Pretty easy one. It's Oxford Ave. I usually prefer to milepost. My new standard of whatever is to milepost things, so it goes in the right order. But I don't feel like dealing with that. So this is South Chase interlocking, and it's south because, like I said, there was another one that was above the crossing that SEPTA just decided to, like, nah, don't need that. Now this is actually doing what it does today when they installed their with their SEPTA. This has already been hit by the SEPTAration resignaling program when they're going to the all cab signal thing. Their standard would be to have the top have green, red, and the bottom red, yellow for restricting or cab speed. Now, I don't know why they bothered with having a cab speed into restricted track. You know, again, you know, they're trying to save money, but then they waste it. If you're going to save money, just save it. So the question is, on the Fox Chase line, let's see if I can find the original Fox. Oh, cool. That'll be the 52R. Although by this point it's kind of re-signaled, but it's probably still working off the same machine. I'm just going to call it 52R. Hey, got some people back. Sorry about the problem earlier. I'm not sure what happened there. Actually, I think I know. I think when I hit the my show desktop thing, it somehow causes a problem with the streaming thing and blacks it. So I just got to be aware of that in the future. There you go. So this is interesting. So it's pretty much today they've moved the end of track. I mean, they moved the mini high to the end of the platform, and they put in a bit more infrastructure. They put in an island. Yeah, they've done a bunch of stuff to improve the Fox Chase station since 2004. Huh. Every so often I get that problem where, there it is. Oh, yeah, see, this is the other thing. Back, yeah, I guess we were in a 2. So this is PR car number 257. Here at the scene at the bumper stops at the end of the Fox Chase line. I was very slow to the gate on that, of just being aware of Silverliner 2s and 3s. For the longest time, I could never even tell the difference. They were just everything looked the same. Some trains just seemed to squeal a little more. I could never quite, you know, what was going on here. Then I was like, I honestly did not know that the 1962 Bud Silverliners from my PRR Pensy Power book would still be in service. It never crossed my mind. Like, I just assumed that they would have been retired years ago and replaced by these boxy GE things. Everything looked like a GE to me. And I just remember I was flabbergasted when someone explained, like, no, those are the real ones. Those are it was like someone explained that they were living, you know, it's almost like it's like finding a coelacanth or something. It's just like, I could not believe that something that ancient would still be in service every day. See, now I was labeling this like Newtown line, old signal, blah blah blah. No, this is North Chase. I gotta redo that. So I just go back to my thing. That's the 54L. Is 54L rear plus whatever switch that is. 55 switch. See if anyone's going on. Died again. I gotta fix that. See? What am I doing that's killing this? Looks like we're back. Alright, I think that's batch number 3. Time for batch number 4. So this will be my 48 for the night. Sorry about the technical difficulties. And this will get us back to Newtown Junction, it appears. Am I good? This working? Looks like it's working. Stops working again. Try saying something. I don't know if I get notifications when I get a comment. I have a bunch of things give me notifications, so it might be giving me the same notification. So one place I do have flexibility on my my aspect ratio rule is with tall photos. I do a lot of tall things, but I don't want to run into issues with that 1280 for the screen resolution. So if it's tall, that's never going to have a screen resolution problem. So I can just tighten that up, resize it. Usually do by a if ever I'm going below 1280, 1000 on the horizontal. I mean, I can go up to I'll do ultra longs like 1000 by 1500 or whatever by 1500s on the tall stuff. So again, this is the 54L rear angle. And like I said, these are the old school USNS, if I undo the resize, you can see this. These are known as USNS TR signals. Unlike the GRS model that had that giant box, USNS went all minimalist with these 3 little panels and 3 little sockets. Problem is that you had they weren't quite good for water. Eventually they'd start leaking because you had a lot of individual gasketing that you needed for those. These are quite rare today. I think the last new ones installed were installed in 1992 with the Amtrak Chicago Union Station project. So again, I used to have this under a Newtown line labeling, but I'm just going to go. See, look, there, you know, there's a little bit of problems with the right of way, but it's still intact, pretty well kept. Unfortunately, so the Montgomery County people really don't want the service. So Bucks County wants the service back. Montgomery County does not want the service back, and that's why Montgomery County SEPTA doesn't want the service back either. The area desperately needs the service, but SEPTA really doesn't want to run more rail stuff. And Montgomery County doesn't. I don't know why they don't want it. They don't. It's a lot of people like in Bryn Athyn that don't want transit bringing undesirables into their community. The sort of NIMBYism. So they found a way to try to turn into a rail trail, even though it's it's rail banked. It's very difficult to dislodge rail trails once they're established. Ah, crap. What the hell am I doing that does this? In case you missed it before, like I said, here is a USNS TR with the three little channels for the lights. So you can see here, I can, in the case of a dark photo, just using a little either blanket brightness enhance or I use the oops, wrong one. I can use the selective brightness enhance to enhance shadows, midtones, or highlights as well. We still good? Okay, we're still good. And everybody's left. Is that the lower head? Sometimes I forget what I've just done. Yeah, it is. See, even back then I was new enough, at least I knew enough. So this signal's still there today. It's just really overgrown. Keep this in the original aspect ratio. Yeah, this is before the Fox Chase. So it's funny. It was when Fox Chase. I guess it was never really a great station, but it was more than you got in a lot of places. And but what they have there today is absolutely. It's so much nicer. Just checking. Nope. Yeah, it is nice that I had, one thing that is nice is that when I can go back and I can find a lot of these old Silverliner 2 photos. I can't take, they're gone. They're all gone. I can't really take these anymore. But I can go back and I can find photos that were poorly, look at this. This is, that's not even the one. This is what I had back in the day. It's not great, but, I can sort of come back and I can rediscover the same photo. I can take the photo again for the see the photo again for the first time, or whatever you want to call that. See, and they all have the proper R designations. I miss the R system. I'll defend it. Some SEPTA conductor explained to me the only thing that there was an easy fix. All you had to do was call it like R8 North, R8 South, and it would have just easily, because a lot of people, they said, oh, it's confusing, and all you have to do is add a north or a south to it, east, west. Ooh, wrapping it up here. Wrapping it up. So at least they installed a few metal catenary posts back in the 1960s. I forget the date on this. I can go and look at it. I think I have it on Wikipedia here. I do. Huh. Doesn't actually tell when they put the catenary in. Strange. Still good. Alright, let's see if I can get this into the right aspect ratio. It's tilted. Maybe. So what are we up to? That would be the 52L displaying a clear at South Chase. So blah, 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 blah. Let's go back to what I had before. Where was that? Cheltenham, Chapman, South Chase. Are those both labeled 52L? Yeah, so this one I gotta be like 52L dwarf plus 52L mast. Let's call it far. Just for my information. Oh gosh, I'm resizing above 100%. Yeah, I can't. I'm blowing that up. So that's just going to be the way it is. Boink. Yeah, I remember this one. This was a bidirectional signal in 1997, but it looks like at some point when they removed CP Crescent, they hacked it. So it's just what it is. They mileposted too. Look. Yeah, look. See, signal 484. This was milepost something, and now it's milepost 7. So at some point, Conrail swooped in there and fiddled around with it. There it goes. Am I still going here? Alright, I'm assuming you're watching. I'm almost done. I got 2 left. Here we're coming back into CP Newtown Junction. Boy, is it, you know, yesterday went fine except for that one blank screen issue, and I was like, oh, okay, I can just keep an eye on things. And now today it's just like a carnival of problems. Badunk. Alrighty. Gotta go back to Newtown Junction here on the Reading charts. Blip, 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 blip. There it is. And that's 14L, 20L. 14L clear. And I'm sure I had something for this. Okay, so here's an example of one of those photos that back in the day I axed because it's blurry and gross. But I'm gonna keep this just because it still kind of shows the pre-2005 configuration of the junction, even though it's gross photo. So I think I can crop a little bit better than that. Can I? Yeah, a little bit. Good enough. Did this come back? Oh, it came back. Yay. And everybody left again. This keeps going up and down and up and down and up and down. Duh. I'm sorry, everyone. I will definitely... Was that it? Oh, that's it. Okay. So I'm just going to delete those last ones. Blip, blip, blip. Double check that I'm not going too far here. There we go. So tomorrow, I'm going to go through the rest of these, plus maybe a couple here from part 2. I can go over the quick. So yeah, this is an example of one I'm dumping. This one, I have to make a call on that. But, man, I did a lot of... How many times did I go to Wayne Junction this stupid-ass damn trip? Oh, because I went to Hill East and Hill West. Interesting. All right, we'll look at all that tomorrow. Make sure that I'm still got stuff going here. Why does this keep dying? All right. It's just me. I'm turning this off. I'll see you later.